What is up, Steelers Nation? Thank you so much for jumping on to another episode of All Steelers Talk. I'm Noah Strackbine, joined every Monday and Wednesday by my main man, Steven Thompson. Find us on youtube.com/All Steelers Talk or subscribe anywhere you get your podcast. Today, we're talking Steelers OTAs. We are back at the facility. Football is being played. Quarterbacks are talking. Mike Tomlin's walking around in shorts. It's a great time to be a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. The weather has been gorgeous the past 2 days. Supposed to do it again. Gotta love it. Plenty to talk about. But first, how you feeling, my friend?
Feeling good. I did not see a story about Mike Tomlin walking around in shorts. I don't think I've ever seen Mike Tomlin's legs before. That's burying the lead right there.
It was crazy. I in shorts with I believe they were. I want to say they were not. I want to say Jordans. I think he was wearing Jordans.
Wow.
Couldn't tell you what ones. Yeah. Fresh legs.
Wow.
It was wild.
Times are changing.
Wild. Yeah, that's how you know. Keeping up with the kids, shorts are getting shorter. So he's just like, well, I can't be wearing pants all the time. Nobody wears pants these days.
I was going to say, Tomlin. You watch him. He walks around in a black sweatsuit at every practice, no matter the weather. I'm like, that has got to be the sweatiest man alive. Like,
those TV, the closets and TV, like if you're watching Family Guy and like Peter Griffin opens the closet and it's just all the same shirt.
Yeah.
Pants. That's how I picture Mike Tomlin's closet. Like it's just the same black long sleeve shirt for the last 15 years of his life.
Yeah.
And his wife is a fashion designer. So I'm sure she loves it. She's probably very excited every day to be like, you're wearing that again?
Oh,
cool.
Black shirt, cool. Black sweatshirt. There we go.
Yeah. As they say though, you gotta look hard in front of the guys. So that's Mike Tomlin's way of going about it. There's been plenty that happened day one. Let's start with attendance. Steelers OTAs had everybody but 3 guys. They only have 87 guys on the roster, so there were 84 guys in attendance. I will say this. Don't show up. The practice starts at 10 o'clock. Media is allowed there at 9:30. Don't show up at 9:35 because there are no parking spots. When there are 87 guys trying to park in a parking lot, it does not work. I learned that. I walk a mile and a half for everybody who saw my Twitter video yesterday. But I got to go work out in. It was nice. The 3 guys that were not there, TJ Watt, Larry Ogunjobi, and newly signed Armon Watts. Obviously, TJ Watt's the big name. There were instant reactions, instant conversations of, oh man, this has to do with the pool incident. The guy fell in the pool 4 days ago. Did he actually get hurt? Blah, blah, blah. Week 1, it is voluntary. That's the biggest thing. This is voluntary. You can't bash a guy for not showing up. However, you could comment on it. I don't think it's about the pool incident. According to Alex Highsmith, everything's good to go. He's totally fine. You got any thoughts about these 3 not showing up day 1 OTAs?
No, I feel like I'm not concerned about TJ Watt getting in a couple practices in helmets and shorts. Same with Larry O, quite honestly. These guys both battled injuries too. Like there's some injury concerns there too. Like not pool related, but like last year, both these guys, had some trouble. So I'm not really concerned about Larry O or TJ. The only one I think that was interesting is Armon Watts. I just think that's a guy who could only benefit from being around this team more and more. So that one was a little interesting to me. I don't know what you think, but I kind of figured that Armon would have been there. But
yeah, no, I agree. I looked at it. TJ didn't surprise me. Figured Wisconsin, he's probably spending the last week with his family before he heads out. After Memorial Days, when some of these guys tend to show up closer to minicamp. No reason to be here this early, especially with the long weekend coming up. Larry Ogunjobi surprised me because, it surprised me, but it didn't surprise me. It a little bit concerned me just because, like, this guy practiced like once the last 8 weeks of the season last year because of injury. Would have been nice to see him get a fresh start and kind of loosen the muscles, not have to worry about it. Maybe he's not a practice guy. Maybe he's an Allen Iverson type of player. Just shows up on Sundays, does what he needs to do. I don't know. I would like to see him here. Armon Watts, I agree with. There's almost no reason, and I'm sure personal reasons, if there is one, I take this all back. If there's not, and this is just we'll show up after Memorial Day, don't think there's any reason not to be in Pittsburgh right now. You're not locked into a roster spot. By no means are you locked into a roster spot. You're competing with guys, and you're supposed to be like this veteran signing. Like, don't you want to get a splash? Don't you want to meet the players? Don't you want to meet the coaches, get comfortable in the facility before minicamp? Like, I just feel like the longer you wait, the more you're denying the inevitable of, I have to get comfortable with everything going on here. Why not do that early? Why not put your foot in the door? Braden Fajoko's out here, in my opinion. If I'm the Steelers coaches, he's got an upper hand in the competition right now. And again, if it's voluntary, I get it. You can't bash guys for not showing up during voluntary workouts, but you could say, hey, look at, there's a difference between TJ Watt not showing up and Armon Watts not showing up. And I think that difference is pretty significant.
Yeah, there's a wide open competition at his position, and he's not, again, it's voluntary. He can do what he wants,
Yeah.
and I'm sure he's had conversations with the coaches about it, but you are not helping yourself by, you can only help yourself by being there. So that one was a little weird to me. You've also got like Keanu Benton, like knocking on your door. Like you've got
Yes.
that's the other thing. You get a chance to look at some of these rookies, though. That's the kind of the flip side of TJ and Larry and Armand not being there is that you get a chance to look at some other guys. And in Armand, for TJ Watt and Larry O, I don't think that matters a whole lot. But for Armand Watts,
Yeah.
you're not just kind of denying yourself an opportunity, but you are opening the door for your direct competition.
Yeah, exactly. Like Keanu Benton is now hitting the bag more than you. Armand or Braden Fogo is now hitting the bag more than you. All these smaller guys, the Jonathan Marshalls, the guys that signed the last couple of weeks, Manny Jones is out here. Everybody's competing. Everybody's showing up. Everybody's trying to ball out, earn a spot on this team. And you're just not here. Like, first impressions are big to me. Again, it's voluntary. It is what it is. I hope if he doesn't show up in week 2, I'm a little concerned.
Yeah.
At that point, I'm like, whoa, okay, buddy, what are we doing here? Don't be that guy. Don't be the only guy that doesn't show up to OTAs. Like Ben Roethlisberger was the only guy that consistently did not show up to OTAs. Well earned. Like at that point, it's just like, well, you're a Hall of Fame Super Bowl winning quarterback. You know how to do this, obviously. You don't really need to be like you throwing the ball another 25 times over the next 3 weeks is not going to make a difference
Right.
in our season. Armand Watts, it's going to make a pretty big difference on whether or not you make the team if you show up in OTAs or you show up the first day of minicamp. And like at that point, like, you're getting your feet wet in minicamp. Just doesn't, nope. You want to get through that. That's what OTAs are. OTAs is to already be adjusted, already have the playbook down, the whole 9, so that minicamp shows up and you're ready to roll. And, it's opportunities missed for a guy that it was surprising. I didn't realize he wasn't there until later in the practice. He would have been my headline, of who wasn't. Obviously, everybody cares about TJ Watt. Nobody cares about Armand Watts. But in the opinion of me, it was like, oh, Armand Watts is the biggest name here
Right.
that I'm concerned with. Unless TJ, actually hurt himself falling in the pool. And then, things
I feel like he
are
wouldn't have
very concerning.
I feel like he wouldn't have posted the video of it if he actually got hurt.
That's what people were trying to say that. They're like, well, like maybe, or maybe he did actually get hurt and he was like, kind of like brushing it off. I'm like, there's no chance, dude. If he actually got hurt, we would hear about it a month and a half from now when
Yeah.
he's like, walking around like with a limp or something and being like, TJ Watt had a pool accident, from Jerry Dulac or something. Like there would be Jeremy Fowler would report, like Schefter would get his hands on it. Somehow we would find this out in a different and way more dramatic fashion
Yeah.
than TJ being like, oh, I'm good, guys. Don't even worry about it. Because he's just not. He's not
Mhm.
putting it out there. For those of you who didn't see Alex Highsmith's response to that, he texted him. It was pretty funny. I would just look it up on Twitter, but it was a good one. All right, next thing I want to talk about, the quarterbacks. Kenny Pickett talked and Mitch Trubisky talked. Huge takeaways from both of them. Obviously, Kenny replied to Ben Roethlisberger, said he's got a fan and everything's cool. We talked about that the other day. I'm kind of tired of talking about Ben Roethlisberger and,
Mhm.
what he attracts and the whole 9. Let's talk Kenny. The other big takeaway is he said he bulked up, which we talked about earlier, and the pictures of him like walking in with the Celsius can and everybody being like, oh, Kenny Pickett, dude, looking like Big Ben. Apparently it's all real. Apparently the guy bulked up. He does look a little bigger. It's not like dramatically bigger. It's like it's May bigger.
Yeah.
Whereas you haven't run around for 17 weeks on a football field for your life, practicing 5 days a week and then playing on Sundays, weightlifting, you know what I mean? Like you haven't been in the facility to eat strict food for the last 4 months. Like it's like that kind
Yeah.
of bulking up. Still good to see that he did add weight, especially with the injuries last year. I don't know, bulky Kenny. Is it exciting? Is it anything to even talk about?
It's exciting. I like talking about it. I was talking about it. I mean, Kenny Thicket. I think that's fun.
Kenny Thicket.
There we go.
Wow, that's a good one. Has
Oh,
anybody
I
put t-shirts out about that yet?
probably I didn't come up with that. That's I forget where I saw that, but that I'm not the first person to say that. Yeah, I mean, it's I don't think it can hurt. I mean, as long as he is not lying to us and he did not actually lose any speed, I like him. I like the way
Yeah,
he uses his legs and all that. So hopefully he didn't lose a step or anything like that when he was putting on that weight. But other than that, I think it can help him. It's also
yeah,
like this feels like pretty standard practice for a lot of athletes across a lot of different sports. Like you spend the off season putting a bunch of weight on because during the season things happen. You're not able to kind of uh keep that same level. So you just naturally lose a ton of weight. So you're kind of preloading and getting out in front of it for a long season.
yeah,
I'm just interested to see if he keeps it on, like, is it just, is it just off-season weight or is this because he made it sound like it was intentional and that
yeah.
this is the weight that he wants to be at when he plays.
So it's funny because as he said it, I laughed, and you
Mhm.
could probably see it in my video. Is like I like moved the phone because I laughed because my first thought was like last year we made a big deal out of Najee Harris and his godlike thighs that
Mhm.
were just came out of nowhere and just stole the world. And this year we're talking about Kenny Pickett. Like, why are we not? Why is making people fat like the headline in Pittsburgh? But I agree with you. It's good bulk. And honestly, like from what I saw yesterday, during just like individual drills. That's all I'm allowed to report on. But during indies, is he moved well? Like I thought
Mhm.
that he moved smoother. I thought he looked more comfortable throwing the ball on the run, which was nice. It wasn't, anything exhilarating. He was throwing to a coach standing on the sidelines, but like it was smooth,
Yep.
it was very comfortable. And I thought that was impressive. Kenny overall yesterday looked just much more comfortable than any quarterback looked last year, like all three of them. And I get that's because all three of them were walking into outside of Mason. We're walking into like a weird situation, brand new team, have no idea what's going on. This year, it's just like Kenny looks good. He looks good. I do like the bulk. I thought last year Kenny was skinny. Like
Mhm.
you look at pictures of Kenny, especially by like week 17, week 18, like that dude's a twig. And I'm like, you're getting smoked out here by like ginormous men, ginormous human beings. You got to put on some weight. So I think, just like you said, you got to maintain it. But I could tell you firsthand, and you could tell them firsthand too. It is easy to maintain weight eating the food
Yeah.
that you ate at the Steelers facility. Not even an issue. Like that's the point. You want to put on weight? Go eat there for 1 week. No problem. Put 5 pounds. Easy. Snag 12 cookies on your way out.
Absolutely.
You'll be totally fine.
Yeah, I've never eaten
I
better
do
anywhere else than at the
no,
Steelers facility,
no.
yeah.
Yesterday I ate a yogurt and a salad, and everybody was looking at me. I was just like, I can't, dude. If I
Right.
if I do it one time, I'm just gonna get fat again, and I'm not allowing myself to do that. It's
It's a long
delicious
season,
food.
you gotta you
That's what I'm
can't.
saying. 18 weeks of eating just amazing food built for men that are 300 pounds and bulking, not for my 5'8", 190-pound frame. Just
Right,
not the same people. For Kenny Pickett, huge,
yeah.
huge, huge. Exactly what he's looking for. I do expect him to keep it on. I think it's a good move for him. I would like to see him run over somebody this year. That would be so fantastic to
Yeah.
just watch Kenny truck it. Just there it is, Kenny truck it. Kenny
There you go.
Kenny Pickett, Kenny truck it. It's the names are when you got a name like Kenny, the names are endless,
Honestly, yeah.
endless. All right, the second part of the quarterbacks here is Mitch Trubisky, who talked, and I was super impressed with Mitch Trubisky talking about embracing a mentor role with Kenny. That's the reason that he came back, kind of just accepting this second stage of his NFL life. Again, very impressed. Let's listen to what he had to say.
When did you have an idea that it was coming together? Because I know Omar said something on the McAfee show and that, but
Yeah.
everybody's into that. But
Yeah.
what about your timeline?
It was like a couple weeks ago. A couple weeks ago, it kind of came to fruition. So they've been in talks with my agent. I love the idea. So it was just they handle the contract talks, and I play football. So I'm just happy to be here.
Mitch, what do you love about being here? What is it that fits for you?
It's the family atmosphere. It's the teammates. It's the people. It's just a great fit for me and my family. We just love everything about it. I love Coach T, Omar, Mr. Rooney and his family. It's just a special place to be a part of. We just got really close as a team last year with all these teammates, and I just felt like I want to be here for the next 3 years. So when they asked me to, it was an easy decision.
How about your connection with Kenny? Just how did that relationship evolve
For
over
sure.
last season? What are you trying to do in your role to help him be successful?
That's huge as well. I just wanted to come back because me and Kenny have gotten so close, and I just want to help him in any way I can. So we got a really great quarterback room. We love having Mason back too. So we're going to have a lot of fun, and we're going to get to work. So anything I could be for Kenny, soundboard, extra coach, extra eyes on the field, I'm going to be there for him, and he knows that. So I think that's also why they wanted to have me back to be in that role and help any way I can. So I'm excited about it.
That's as good as it gets for a backup quarterback. That is, when we talked about this all offseason, that's exactly what the Pittsburgh Steelers were looking for. Mitch has now accepted it, which I think changes my thoughts on who I thought Mitch was coming into this. You just heard that. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, so it's just so strikingly different from, I think, a lot of what we heard last year from Mitch. Obviously when he got benched, that's a rough moment for anyone, especially a guy with kind of Mitch's pedigree who had been a
Yep.
starter, who was brought in to be a starter. There was some bitterness about it, which you can understand and you can empathize with, but he kind of never really seemed to completely move past it. But it's nice to see that he has moved past it now and that he is kind of willing to be in that role. That's huge. Like that's what you like you said, that's what you want in a veteran quarterback. It's incredible maturity and I think incredible grace to kind of handle this situation with. I mean, he's getting paid pretty well to be a backup quarterback, so that helps.
Yeah,
But
very
like,
true. Very true.
but still, I mean, these are proud guys. They want to play and they want to contribute on the field. But for a guy again with Mitch's kind of history and with his pedigree to say, "This is my role and I'm going to embrace it. I'm going to do the best that I can at this role." I think takes a lot of humility and I don't know. Like you said, that's an impressive thing.
Yeah, it's super impressive. Like I looked at it just as Mitch somewhat accepting, hey, look it, I'm not going to start in the NFL. It's just not going to happen. Not right now. Maybe the opportunity presents itself again, but for this year and for next year, my best opportunity to win a Super Bowl is in Pittsburgh. And I think that's awesome because I think that's the thing is like before the contract extension and before Mitch talked, I looked at it and said, Mitch Trubisky, if I'm Mitch Trubisky, there's no chance I'm taking less money. I'm here for the next 2 years or year or whatever, and then I'm out. And that's all I'm looking for. Now I look at him and go, this dude is ready to coach Kenny. He's ready to be an extra set of eyes. He's ready to be a practice quarterback. He's ready to play his part on a team. And I don't think I think it was there last year. Like, I don't think Mitch had any hard feelings towards Kenny or like wasn't helping him in any way. I think he was doing everything he was supposed to do because I think that's just who NFL guys are, most of them at least. But now he's like, this is my plan. This is my NFL journey. This is where I'm supposed to be. I think that's awesome because I think backup quarterbacks are very valuable, especially to younger guys. Like you hear Patrick Mahomes. I've listened to Patrick Mahomes talk about Alex Smith so many times, and this guy, like every time he talks about his early success, he talks about Alex Smith, and he talks about what he was able to learn from Alex Smith. You hear Ben Roethlisberger talk about, and this is timeless. Every time he talks about his early career, he talks about Charlie Batch and Brian St. Pierre and Tommy Maddox and what these guys were able to do, coaching him and kind of giving him just the blueprint of like, hey, this is what you need to do. This is what I saw. This is how we correct these things. Mitch has been there. Mitch took Matt Nagy to the playoffs. That's impressive.
Mm.
There was a time where Mitch Trubisky had some upside. It didn't pan out, obviously, but he knows how to be a successful quarterback. I think him working behind Kenny, especially with Mason there as well, and Mike Sullivan. I mean, like you've geared up. You've done everything you can outside of fix the offensive coordinator as the Pittsburgh Steelers to say this is Kenny Pickett's best opportunity. This is the best thing we could do for this guy. Now it's up to him. I think that's huge.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, this is Kenny's team. I think this team is really gonna go as far as he takes them. So for Mitch to kind of recognize that and say, "Yeah, if I want to win, this is what I have to do to contribute to winning." That's it's gonna be key, and I'm
Yep.
just excited to see how it actually manifests itself on the field.
So the next huge thing about Mitch Trubisky, which I can't believe nobody else talked about yesterday. Guy's rocking a visor, okay?
Oh yeah.
And it looks so hard.
Mhm.
It looks so hard. I went up to him afterwards, because he had the big scrum or whatever. Everybody faded out, and I just walked up and I was like, Mitch, there's one big question everybody should know here. When did you decide to put the visor on? When was the visor the move? He said it was a couple of weeks ago, and we both just like laughed. I was like, "That's the hardest thing on the football field when you're out there. Like, just so that you know, you are the hardest looking backup quarterback in the NFL."
Yeah.
And he was liking that one. I think, dude, Mitch with the visor. If you're gonna be a backup quarterback, ball out.
I was
Flash it out. Do your thing.
I was gonna say,
I'm
as a former high school backup quarterback, you have a lot of time on your hands to figure out what you're gonna wear on game day and at practice. So,
backup quarterback, huh?
oh,
Stephen Thompson,
way
backup
backup, way
QB.
backup is a generous term.
What are
It
you
was,
talking? Third, fourth string QB here.
yeah, maybe even lower than that. I think if we lost,
Zach Gentry style quarterback
yeah,
here. Just like if need be, we're calling Steven down from the stands. He's gonna toss. He's gonna jump in there, throw a couple passes for
I
him.
think I completed one pass in my career, and it was on a fake punt. So it was,
Hey, that's pretty impressive.
yeah,
That's one.
it was went for
It's
a
a one
first
for
down,
one.
man. My passer rating is through the roof. It is through
Yeah,
the
that's
roof.
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. There's, you don't need 100 touchdowns to make an impact. You just need one first down on a fake punt. So good for you. I didn't realize that we had the inside knowledge
Yeah.
of a former quarterback in our hands here. Huge stuff. All right, next thing I want to talk about, Dan Moore still taking reps at left tackle. He worked with the first teams yesterday, admitted that he, as of right now, is playing with the first team. He will start, but he also acknowledged that it's too early. This is not a real offensive lineman competition yet. Meanwhile, Broderick Jones was there. I had it pointed out to me yesterday, and it caught my attention too. Pat Meyer did not leave Broderick Jones' side all throughout individuals. Did not one time. Just continuously hammered this dude. Broderick said after practice that all he's been doing is hammering the details. Like every time Pat Meyer says something, it's just like, hey, you got to do this better. Hey, you got to put your hands here. Hey, you got to put your feet there. Working with them. Dan's out there. He also said he spent some of the offseason working at right tackle just on his own, just in case the Steelers need him to play both sides. You look at it. What are your thoughts on Dan kind of being open to that situation, and also at the same time still remaining the left tackle one as of now?
Yeah, I think it was interesting for Dan to say that he was working out at right tackle too. He think framed it
Yeah.
as if the Steelers need me to play that position, but I think it's also if Dan needs to play that position, if he needs to,
Mm-hmm.
if he wants to see the field, this is kind of what he has to do. I think this all kind of follows the script, right? Like we talked about this a little bit before, but Broderick probably wasn't going to get slotted into first team reps right away. He was a little
Yep.
bit of a raw prospect. He's really good. He's got some talent, but Dan Moore didn't do anything to deserve getting pushed out of that job automatically. So yeah, this kind of follows the script. I still think Broderick eventually becomes a starter. I think there's just too much talent to ignore. But yeah, for right now, uh, Dan's gonna hold that job until he does something to lose it, I feel like. And
Yeah.
he's not really gonna do anything capable. Like he's not no part of OTAs or minicamp, quite honestly, is going to show you enough where you can be like, well, Dan Moore can't handle this.
Yeah, 100%. A real offensive line competition doesn't start until the pads come on. You can work on footwork, you can work on hand placement, you can do whatever you want. They ran 7-on-7s yesterday. They didn't even run 11s. And
Mhm.
I don't think they're going to run 11s today, and I don't think they're going to run 11s for the next 2 weeks. Maybe in minicamp they'll run a little bit of 11s, but it's not going to be much. Like you're not putting offensive and defensive linemen on the field. It's just there's no point in it. Like what are you going to do? You're just going to
Yeah.
there it is. That's all you did there. Once Pags come on, once Latrobe's here, that's a real competition. Once the preseason start, that's an even bigger competition. I think Dan Moore kind of sees the writing on the wall. I think he understands that this guy is the 14th pick in the draft and he's a first rounder. And in the NFL, that holds way too much stock to come in here and not win the left tackle job. But at the same time, I think he also understands that Mike Tomlin's a very transparent dude and Omar Khan doesn't really care about when guys work out as long as they work out. And, maybe he does have an opportunity. I think it's Dan's going to get the first shot to prove himself. Broderick's probably going to win it, but I think they're going to keep Dan in there until probably the first 2 weeks of training camp. It's going to be a while. And then from there, they'll say, all right, Broderick's our guy. We'll see what he has. And then he'll take over. It'll be kind of like the quarterback competition last
Yeah.
year where it's like, like it's a real competition, but really like it's Mitch Trubisky. It'll start that way. It'll be a real competition. Everybody will split reps, so on and so forth. And then eventually it'll just be like real heavy Broderick Jones,
Yeah.
a little bit of Dan Moore Jr., where they'll utilize Dan Moore in other places. I agree. But I think it's just too early for that right now. Summer's coming. Are you ready to unveil your beach bod? Manscaped is here to ensure your body is ready for the wild with their game-changing full-body grooming and hygiene products. Don't be the guy at the beach with the Austin Powers chest hair, and if you grew some winter man tits, the least you can do is make sure that they're hairless. It's time to get ready for the hot guy summer by going to manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping with our code STEELERS20. Look it, I'm full blown Italian as it comes. And man, let me tell you, I need Manscaped every single summer. Manscaped is dedicated to helping you increase your confidence and level up your full body grooming game with their Performance Package 4.0. The kit comes with the essential Lawnmower 4.0, waterproof cordless body trimmer, and a ton of other liquid formulations to round out your grooming routine. Whether you're trimming your chest or the treasure chest in your pants, this is the best trimmer on the market. Their trimmer features a ceramic blade designed to cut hair on loose skin and to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. You could even trim an arrow pointing to the promised land if you're bold enough. Inside the Performance Package, you'll find the Manscaped Crop Preserver Ball Deodorant and Crop Reviver Ball Toner, an anti-chafing ball deodorant and moisturizer, because we know how painful chafing can be when you're wearing your bathing suit all day long. No one likes nose hairs, so their package also comes with the Weed Whacker 2.0. You also get 2 free gifts: the Shed Travel Bag, a $39 value add, and the patented high performance reduced chafing Manscaped boxers. Excuse me. When I get that excited about a product, I just can't talk. If you're wearing sandals, you need to get the Manscaped Shears 2.0 nail kit. Having the right tools for grooming is essential. Do yourself a favor and always use the right tools for the job. Get 20% off and free shipping with our code STEELERS20 at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with our code STEELERS20 at manscaped.com. Trim your chesticles with the besticles. Once you put pads on, things change. Shout out to Dan Moore for working on the right tackle. I think that was huge of him. You know, I think also like year 3 is when guys make a big jump in the NFL, and I think Dan Moore could make a big jump. And I think that if he impresses enough, maybe it opens competitions for both sides. I don't know. I think Chooks is a solidified name in Pittsburgh, but at the same time, you're going to keep the best guys that you have available. And maybe Dan Moore will prove that. But we don't know anything until the pads come on. Last thing I do want to talk about, Deontay Johnson spoke to the media yesterday, and he said in the most humble fashion. And I believed him when he said that. Like, he stopped and he's like, in the most humble way possible, these are my goals for 2023. He's looking for an all-pro appearance, Pro Bowl selection, which would be his second of his career, over 1,000 catches, or 1,000 yards, excuse me. He wants to be top 10, top 5 in the league, anywhere around there. And he believes that he's got all the skill sets to do it. He thinks he's got Kenny Pickett, who's able to help him do that. You look at Deontay Johnson this year. I mean, it was a down year last year, but it's really hard to have a good year with the quarterback play and the offensive coordinator play that the Steelers had a year ago. Obtainable goals for Deontay Johnson? You think you think this is the year that this guy turns into a true-blooded superstar?
I don't know about superstar, but I think a lot of these goals are pretty obtainable. The All Pro one, that's pretty lofty, but 1,000 yards on Pro Bowl, absolutely. Like, Deontay is absolutely good enough to do that stuff. I felt like a lot of what held him back last year was not, oh, this guy like is not capable of being a starting wide receiver in the NFL. It's that
Yeah.
he was, I don't know, just not finishing plays, I guess, like
Yeah, not finishing plays,
there were
had
little
a really
mental
rough quarterback situation.
yeah, there were little mental errors too. Like I get it, the quarterback play was bad, but I was not a fan of Deontay last year, and
Yeah.
I thought there was a lot of room for improvement. But there were really fine lines, I think, between him looking a lot better than he did last year and looking the way he did. Like if he hauls in like 1 or 2 or even 3 of those like wide open touchdowns that he had like
Yep,
in his
dropped.
hands at certain points last year, like we're talking about this guy in a completely different fashion.
Yep.
So I
Yeah.
I don't I don't think this is a or too lofty of goals for a guy like Deontay Johnson. There's a lot of talent there, and I think he should take a step forward with some improved quarterback play, and then just also if he like cleans up some of the the silly stuff that he did last year.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. If this is it, like this is year 5, this is the ball out year. You want to solidify yourself as one of the top wide receivers in the NFL. This is how you're going to do it. You want to win over the fans. This is how you're going to do it. I think the biggest thing for Deontay Johnson is to just not try to do too much this
Yeah.
season. Like just have all these goals. Awesome. If the offense flows beautifully and it has all the pieces to flow beautifully outside of an offensive coordinator, you'll get your touches. You'll get your receptions. You are the most open wide receiver in football statistically. You'll get your chances. Like it'll all come. It's at that point, it's just about making the most of it. I think that was the biggest thing. Like towards the end of Ben's career, it was just like it was constant, just Deontay Johnson, Deontay Johnson, Deontay Johnson, and it was really nice to see. It was cool, but you never got to see Deontay like take that next step because you looked at it and just said he's the only one that a defense has to worry about. Like he could only run 5-yard outs because he's not a deep threat and they're always going to double team him after he goes 5 yards out. Like that's just what's going to happen. This year you can't even think about double teaming anybody in Pittsburgh. You can't because if you double team George Pickens, Deontay Johnson's open. If you double team Deontay Johnson, you're an idiot because George Pickens is going to be open. Oh, you're trying to double team them both? Allen Robinson's going to be open. Oh, forgot about Calvin Austin. What about Pat Freiermuth? 6'7" Darnell Washington. Jalen Warren could catch footballs out of the bathroom. Out of the backfield. Connor Hayward, we don't even know what he's going to do or what position he's going to play, but he could catch footballs. Zach Gentry, possibly Anthony McFarland. Like there's so many weapons here that the Steelers have that as long as Kenny